Thanks, Hillary. Good morning, everyone. I want to acknowledge that we're gathered here today on the traditional lands of the Mississauga people. And in recognition of the fact that we're living in the era of reconciliation, I've modified the title of this presentation to highlight the work that we're doing in the Winnipeg Boldness initiative. Now, the lessons that we're applying in Winnipeg stem in part from the formative experience that we gained from this initiative. Vibrant Communities was a partnership between Tamarack and the Caledon Institutes, a 10-year collective impact initiative to reduce urban poverty. Today, 47 cities and 9 provinces are part of Vibrant Communities Canada. Another initiative, Allies, was a successful cooperation between McConnell and Maytree to assist professional immigrants with employment, and was also formative for us. It was the first time that we co-funded significantly with different levels of government and the private sector. Hello, Elizabeth. In retrospect, these successes seem clear and concise, but at times they were anything but. And I'm here to tell you that working on complex challenges with cities, provinces, and First Nations can be, well, complex. We look at the sausage making of policy making in this domain. So 2 years ago, we were looking for a place to support improved Aboriginal early child development, possibly through the use of a social impact bond. And we came here to Point Douglas in Winnipeg's North End, a community of 50,000 people living in conditions of toxic stress, where 87% of Aboriginal babies are deemed at risk at birth. 50% of Aboriginal children arrive at kindergarten deemed not ready to learn, and 20% of kids born in this neighborhood are removed from their families and placed in the care of the state. A completely unacceptable set of circumstances. But behind the dismal statistics, we also found deep concern and community commitment to change. Above all in the community of Point Douglas, but also in the city of Winnipeg and in the province of Manitoba. The fact that this city had recently participated with the Winnipeg Poverty Reduction Council as part of Vibrant Communities created the conditions where it was easier to move forward in a new collaboration together. It also helped that the province has a Healthy Child Committee of Cabinet comprised of 8 ministers, one of whom was Kevin Chief, an Aboriginal community leader from Point Douglas. So the province became an equal funding partner with us, and United Way Winnipeg agreed to host the initiative. Our goals are to create a 6-year early child development strategy, a family-centered model for raising children, combining the wisdom of the community and modern best practice, and a strengths-based narrative that highlights the positive aspects of Winnipeg's North End. So these 4 women, 3 of them Aboriginal, were hired to lead the Boldness Project. On the right, there's Diane Roosin. She was invaluable in ensuring that the project would have access to the North End community, and as she says, there's a fiercely protective skirt mafia that had to be negotiated before we could go to work. 4 months later, the community identified 4 priorities: family-centered decision-making by social services, support programs for dads, an accessible transportation system, and a community leadership program. And then for reasons that we won't get into, the local leaders refused to continue collaborating with the consultants who were working on the project. When we met with the community, they openly admitted that they didn't know what to do next. We had gone from a solution seeking a problem to a problem seeking a solution, and the whole project was at risk, frankly. So, what do? Look for solutions. So we invited members of the local team to attend the CKX in Toronto, the Community Knowledge Exchange, where they met and spent some time with Yuri Vanden Steenhoven of Mars Solutions Lab. And he was invited, reluctantly accepted, to guide the community from that point forward to transfer into the community the capability to run their own labs. So 30 people participated in the very first lab, which took place over 2 days. The new minister was there, business leaders, city health departments, single moms, a stay-at-home dad who looks after 6 kids, and initially skeptical, Ovid Mercredi was there and pronounced it a success. He's become a champion of the project. Thank you. I was looking for my timer, and I see instead of 5 minutes, still I have 1. So let me just share with you that work on prototyping solutions to those those problems, those challenges is continuing and generating very, very interesting results. Because government is at the table, we have the policymakers there. Because the province is our partner, it creates space for the city to step up and between the community and the province begin to explore what they can do around issues that pertain to their jurisdiction, transportation, for example. So let me just share quickly some lessons from this process to date. First of all, setting a bold goal has a galvanizing effect. Aiming to ensure that every North End child starts school ready to learn has captured people's attention, and there's a reason that it isn't called the Winnipeg Let's Make Things a Little Bit Better initiative. Second, pay your respects to the minister, but make friends with the deputy. We are so fortunate to have in Winnipeg a very talented and committed group of deputy ministers and assistant deputy ministers who are committed to this project. And in one deputy in particular, Jan Sanderson, we've got the champion we need to make sure that we don't go off track. She's guided and challenged us throughout this initiative. Next, don't fund just grants. Fund experiments. As Matthew was saying, government is hesitant to take chances with public funds, especially these days. Because we put the first dollar down, it partly de-risked the government's involvement. As Diane Roosen says, we can't make progress if we're too scared to make mistakes. Fourthly, and I've only got 5 of these, timer, make the numbers tell a story. We have to be collecting evidence early on to demonstrate the efficacy of this kind of work. We decided fairly late in the day to add the Canada Learning Bond project managed by the Omega Foundation to ensure that we had some early wins to demonstrate to government. And to give you just a quick snapshot, in Winnipeg's North End, there are 10,000 children eligible for the $2,000 Canada Learning Bond, but 8,000 of those kids are not receiving it. That means $16 million is not going into the community, not financing social enterprises, not funding infrastructure and so on. And one of the barriers, there are multiple, but one of the barriers is that you need a birth certificate to get the learning bond. The province sells those for $25, which is too big a barrier for low-income families. Do the math. Does it make sense to hold up a $16 million investment in children's education to collect $200,000 in fees? When we pointed this out to the government, they immediately waived the fee for the community. To conclude, the most important goal of Winnipeg Boldness is to change the various systems that North End children and families depend on: education, healthcare, social services, even banking. Impact of this nature at these levels will ensure that the positive changes we can see are enduring and support the growth of a reconciliation generation in this country. Thank you.